I'm Jill and welcome back to my channel. I hope that you will like and subscribe. I do true crime, current events, and sometimes I'm going to do some story times. If that's something you think you might like, I hope that you will subscribe and like my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about Scott Peterson. I think all of us probably know what Scott Peterson got sentenced to death on. He was sentenced to death for the murder of his pregnant wife, Lacey Peterson. He was also sentenced to second-degree murder for the baby Connor Peterson that Lacey was carrying at the time of her death. Recently, he has been in the news because Scott Peterson was appealing his penalty phase of his. So, because of the fact that the California Supreme Court ruled that Scott Peterson did not get a fair trial when it came to the penalty phase, due to the fact that the judge made a series of mistakes. He made some mistakes dismissing the jurors that were against the death penalty. So the California Supreme Court would go ahead and give him a new trial based on that. And that is how Scott Peterson got his new sentence, which was life in prison. So now, here we are in court for the last Thursday and Friday of this week. Now, they're seeking a new trial altogether. Now, the juror number 7, Rochelle Nice, she is the one that could be responsible for giving Scott Peterson a completely new trial. Have you heard of her? Have you seen her? Do you remember her? I remember her. I watched all the media coverage from the very beginning of when this happened. I remember her because she got the nickname Strawberry Shortcake because she had this strawberry red colored hair. She was different from all of them. She had tattoos, she had piercings. She definitely stood out amongst the other jurors. However, she was not really chosen for the initial jury pool. She was an alternate juror. She was an alternate juror through the whole trial. However, one of the jurors would be thrown out during the penalty phase, and she would be allowed in during that phase. So she wasn't really allowed into the initial deliberations, but she came in through the penalty phase, in which I assume they started all over again, kind of deliberating to get to that penalty phase. But when I go on to tell you about Rochelle Nice, you're going to have to form your own opinions about her, but I have my own opinions about her as well. Okay, so when Rochelle, now that they're back in court, they are basing this new trial on her. They are seeking the new trial on her. They are naming her what is called a stealth juror. And a stealth juror is someone who deliberately masks their bias to ensure that they are picked on a panel and then ensure a guilty verdict is reached. Okay, so that's what a stealth juror is. Now, she was very happy to be on that jury. She is a person that likes to stand out. That's what even her fellow jurors would say about her. She has this bright hair. She's very outspoken. They said the day that she came in to join the juror pool, she came in and she said, we need to get, Scott Peterson needs to pay for what he did to little man. She just verbally blurts it out. And I don't know if you've ever sat in a jury pool or a jury. I have. I was in on just, it was a felony case. And you don't do that. You know, you don't come in and just blurt out things. There's a process the way you're handling things. There's a secret vote. Nobody really knows what you're going for. You know, you talk about things, you bring in facts. And I cannot even imagine on a murder case how different it is. But I'm sure it's kind of the same process. So the jurors said that, she would talk about making money off of this once it was done in books. And in fact, she did do that. They went on to say that since the years since Peterson was convicted, she has been on 2020. She has been on the E! True Hollywood Story. She took part in the documentary, The Murder of Laci Peterson. She co-wrote a book with 6 of the juries deciding the Scott Peterson case. She has been on Dr. Phil. However, what happened with her is that she was involved in 2 domestic cases of her own. They were in 2000. So it was shortly before the Peterson case. And what had happened with her is she was pregnant in 2000, and she had sought a restraining order from her boyfriend and her boyfriend's girlfriend. She said that she feared for her unborn son's life. She got a restraining order. This happened to her once again in 2001, where she was pregnant once again and was abused by her boyfriend at the time. She did not put this in her, you fill out kind of like a form as a juror, have you had this happen? And you have to be honest about that. And when asked on the stand yesterday why she wasn't honest, she said she just didn't think about it. That's pretty important in my opinion. It's very close to when this happened to Laci, and it was kind of would be a trigger in my opinion to sit in on something that horrendous, and be objective, be a non-biased opinion. But nevertheless, she is testifying under immunity for these past 2 days. She's also said that she didn't think about to mention it because she didn't feel like a victim in any of those circumstances. But, if you're filing a police report, I think you do feel victimized in some way. Another thing to mention about her is she wrote Scott Peterson 17 letters in prison. Among the letters, she would ask him how he could do that to his wife, why he did that to his wife, what happened the night of those murders, and why do men cheat on their wives. She said Scott Peterson did respond to her. He wasn't mean. He just would state that he was sorry that they had to go through the trial and listen to those things. On Dr. Phil, he would ask her, are you going to write to him again? And she would say probably that she was. Okay, so this last Thursday, they were slated to have 3 people testify. They had Rochelle Nice, they had one of the jurors, and they were going to bring in the person that was producing the documentary that Rochelle Nice was in. However, she was refusing to testify under the fact that she was a journalist. And I guess as a journalist, you have a right not to testify. However, they're still trying to get her to testify because when she was interviewing Rochelle Nice, there was a photo in the back of a little boy, which I am thinking is hers, and the little boy had pajamas on that said little man on them. And I know because I heard her many times refer to Connor as little man. The juror also testified to the fact that she referred to the baby as little man. She also wrote Scott Peterson letters referring to Connor as little man. So it kind of sounds like, I don't know, she had some connection there between her children and Connor. Maybe some strange connection to where she would call this enduring, name that you give your own child, little man, because she did clearly call Connor little man. So they wanted her to testify to this, that, when you were interviewing her, you saw this picture of this little boy with this little man on his pajamas. She is not wanting to testify. I'm not sure. They said you don't want to testify, but under the Sixth Amendment, don't quote me, he has the right to a fair trial. And to get that fair trial, we need your testimony. So they were going back and forth. Today, they were still, this is Friday, they were still going back and forth. They were hoping to wrap up today. And then the judge has 90 days to grant him a new trial or not. I myself think that he probably has a 50-50 chance of getting a retrial. I think that I looked in some other cases where there were stealth jurors. The Martha Stewart case had a stealth juror. Right now, the Maxwell case has a stealth juror. It happens. People do get retrials from it. Some people do not. I would be interested to hear, don't come for me. I know you're going to come for me. But I would be interested to hear the things that they have that were left out in the court proceedings. The burglary that did happen across the street. I would be interested in hearing the lady that owned the shop, that the men came into her shop. She was, I think, 8 months pregnant, and she hid in the back. She swears up and down that these men were coming for her. Also, the many people that saw a pregnant woman walking a golden retriever dog that morning. Also, the mailman that was Scott and Lacey's mailman for 10 years and said that the day that he came to that route where every day that dog barked, that day the dog did not bark. Also, the searching for the umbrella that morning on the internet for the sunflower umbrella. I would also be interested to see what, is there any proof that they proved that was Scott, or could it have been Lacey? I mean, let me tell you something. I'm 90% sure he probably did it based on only the fact that he was a jerk. He cheated on his wife. He called his girlfriend, and he's a liar. Not based on any physical evidence that they had. I don't buy the whole anchors on your boat. That doesn't make you a killer. Dyeing your hair, going to Mexico, or going on a trip, that doesn't make you a killer either.